Welcome to Emotional Support Siblings podcast, where we are crazy and psycho, and we talk about how we got so crazy and psycho. I'm Luke, and this is my emotional support sister, Sarah.
Hi, yes, we get together every week and we talk about our emotional breakdowns. And then we also just talk about breaking our cycles of our trauma.
Yes, and our emotional come ups as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, bring in the positivity.
A little
Sorry,
bit.
maybe I'm just like hyper focused on the chaos of what this week has been.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hit
I mean,
me.
I know you feel it too. Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like summer hit full fledged, man. Ain't no rest for the wicked.
I know that's right. I have this thing in my head where I'm like, I have a finish line, but every time I get to the finish line, I just like have a new finish line. I'm like, things will be
Finish line
good.
is death.
Yeah, right. I know that's right. But no, I feel good, rejuvenated today. I got like 9 hours of sleep for the first time in like months, which was sweet. Went to bed at like 8 p.m. and woke up at 6. So that was cool. But yeah, excited to be here. Excited to be here. It has been a hell of a week, but I'm excited for this. As
Me too.
huge.
Per the huge.
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 UGE.
Huge.
There you go.
I don't know. It sound.
What was
I'm
it? That last one wasn't even close. Yeah.
trying to eat my dinner, man. That's what I mean. This week has been so chaotic. We talked about meeting today at 5. I was like, yep, I'm on point. I'm ready to go. Then I was making everybody else dinner, forgot to make my own dinner. I'm sure, like, that's what our podcast is talking about today, about the chaos of parenthood, about how we are, Justine, Luke's wife, is in the thick of pregnancy. They are waiting, counting down the days till baby girl gets here. We're talking about parenthood, the giving of self to tiny humans and reparenting through all of that madness. These are some big ones. Pregnancy, parenthood, reparenting. Let's do it. Yeah, let's talk about you right now going through it with Justine. Like what's big, what's happening?
Her
I mean,
belly.
other than Justine's Billy. Yeah, just
Her belly is big and happening. um,
she seems upbeat. I mean, I don't know if she just hides it well via text, but I've reached out a couple times and she's like, "Yeah, I'm good. I'm feeling good." I'm like, "I wasn't."
yeah, no, she. I will say because like until you're experiencing it as a mother or father, I guess you don't really know what's coming. Everybody has their own experience with it, and we've had so many people like kind of give us advice and tell us their experience and all these things. So like I've been looking like this whole time. Like the first trimester wasn't too bad. The second trimester actually, like the end of the first going into the second, she was sick like every day, and I
Mm.
felt terrible. Um, but ultimately, man, like she's either yeah, like you said, like she's either like a trooper and just hides it well, or like she's doing all right. We
Think I was
are
just ready more than like it just started to get to the point where I was like, all right, let's go. I'm ready for it to be here.
yeah. I think the excitement of it coming is hitting us worse than like feelings. I guess. I mean I can't speak for her, but just from what she tells me, like of course like her body hurts and all these things, but it's nothing like so crazy. I mean, today she moved like 2 chairs out to the road today to the trash. I'm like, dude, you're not 9 months pregnant, and she's still doing the damn thing. So,
Yeah.
um,
I mean, I remember I was pregnant with the twins and uh it was like the best. I was bragging all to who would listen to me. I was painting my toenails when I was like 37 weeks pregnant with twins. Like I could still get down there. It wasn't pretty, but I did it and I was like, but also, like, I think that was just like my mentality. I think probably be just related to trauma because it's really hard, I think, also sometimes to ask for help or rely on it to be there. And I mean, like, that's coming from somebody who's, in a great marriage that I could ask Jonathan for anything and he'd be like, yeah, not a problem. But I was like, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, man. Like I think it's the cutest, best thing ever when like I'm watching her like try to put her socks on or something. Like she'll ask me for help when she's like really just not feeling it, and I'm like, I
Yeah.
just think it's the coolest thing that like just to watch her, and I'm just like, dude, and she's pregnant as hell, and I love it. Um, I never understood like the term like glowing, like she's glowing, like I've seen pregnant
Hmm.
people, they weren't glowing to me. But seeing my wife pregnant with our daughter is, I see it. Like every time I look at Justine, I'm like almost in tears, just like, I can't wait, dude. Just so, the audience knows, it was IVF. I would say the first couple weeks of doing IVF was rougher than the entire pregnancy. I,
Yeah, those hormones are no joke.
yeah, dude. Yeah. I saw, there was a day where, have you seen the movie Split?
Yeah, and that's the one,
Where he's got like
uh,
10 different personalities.
personalities. Yeah. Gosh, what is that actor's name?
I don't know, but he's awesome.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. We should know his name. Go on.
Yeah. Anyway, I saw that in real life, in real time, um,
Ugh.
going through IVF. So I was kind of preparing myself after seeing that for like a rough pregnancy.
Mm-mm.
But I think we just got it out the way. Got it out the way super early, and she's been solid. She's been solid.
That's good. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Pregnancy's wild. Like, I remember the first go around, I was exhausted from literally doing nothing. Like, just so tired. And, as you subsequently, if you guys end up trying or having multiple children, I mean, every pregnancy is different and every pregnancy has its stuff. But I remember with with Emery, my first two are, 18 months apart. So it was nice because I had these moments still of reprieve because Madeline was still napping for like a good chunk of the afternoon. So I was like, okay, we're good. But then there's a 3-year difference between having Emery and then the twins.
Yeah.
And when they came, I mean, I'm trying to navigate newborn hood with twins with two toddlers. I mean, because they're all close in age, that I essentially had four under four.
Goodness gracious.
Mm-hmm. But
Man.
pregnancy, I mean, you're just leading up to the moment. My favorite part each time was just like waiting for the water to break or contractions to start. And I'm just like, come on. And then like as soon as that happens, I was like, oh man, it's showtime.
It's really weird. I mean, we are scheduled for an induction and everything, so we kind of have it planned and everything.
Mm.
The doctors have been telling us like the whole time that um, there's a good chance that she could come even earlier, like naturally from than the induction date. We had an appointment Friday, and it's looking like things kind of leveled out a little bit to where she's more average than above in weight and everything. So it looks like we're gonna make it to induction, but I've been just sitting here stressing. We were just before the podcast started. We were talking about like these finish lines, and I'm like, I need to get all this work done before this baby comes. I just keep talking to Justine's belly, saying, "Baby girl, make it to past Father's Day, and we're good. We're gonna start off on a good note."
I'm not gonna lie, you know, and you want to talk about all that. I mean, for us, first baby, like nursery was like you guys have done it so differently and with such grace. I will give you so much credit. Like they have bought a new house, had to get a tenant, moved homes. They so Luke lives in Georgia. We live in Ohio. They had to, do a lot of hosting for like traveling for the baby shower. I mean, you guys really, whoa, I think that, Madeline's stuff was all just like nursery was planned months in advance. I had this, you know what I mean? Like, and then I think about with the twins, once you get to 3 and 4, we decided just renovate our house. We put on a whole addition to the house. Jonathan just took work off, and then we just put like he just built us like an added part to our house, because when you find out you have twins, our car was too small, our house was too small, everything was just chaotic. And then like we came home and half the house is covered in drywall dust, and I'm like, this is just my life now.
It's gonna be fine. Everything's fine. Oh
I think
gosh.
that's maybe where, like, if we want to pinpoint like snapping in adulthood, it might have been in that little segment.
I could believe that. I remember even coming over there when I came to visit one time and seeing uh your bedroom, and it just like there was just a sheet over it. That's it. Like just open air with a sheet.
Yep.
Like you
We're
take a step and you're outside.
yeah. Yeah, I think I'm like, I mean, I think about it now and I'm so grateful. He did such an excellent job, but like the timing of it, what were we doing? I had it in my brain like when we started like the whole renovation. I was like, I'm not due with twins for 6 months. Yeah, well, they can't pour a foundation in Ohio in the winter. You know what I mean? And then
Right.
we had one of the wettest springs. So every time we scheduled the foundation to be poured, they were like, "Oh yeah, we can't come out. It's too wet." And I'm like, "Oh," and it just got pushed back and pushed back and pushed back just to start the project. I was like, and there's
Yeah,
nothing you could do about that. So God was teaching me flexibility.
that's right. And it all worked out, and now you got a bigger home and room for the twins to get up and run around,
Room.
have their own room. But I because I mean, so I obviously there's a huge difference in like the pregnancy time between the man and the woman. Of course, every scenario is different, but like, um, what do you think that there's like enough like social talk, I guess, of like the emotional changes that happen during pregnancy? Not only for the woman, but for the man too. Like I feel like Justine and I have gone down like the TikTok rabbit hole and all these things, and it talks a whole lot about like the pregnancy, the physical changes, and it talks about like what you're going to go through like in the hospital and all these things and all these like it'll like get your mind twisted about like I don't know, it's almost like being a hypochondriac where you're like it makes you worry about everything, but like I
Sure.
don't remember seeing a whole lot about like anything like I mean you and I have talked about like postpartum depression, but like even during pregnancy, like the ups, the downs, the um, all the feelings that are like that come along with it. In your
Yeah.
experience, like what how do you feel about that? Like, is there enough talk about it? Is there anything that you would say going from your own experience?
Um, Honestly, I think for me, especially working as a nurse, you know, I had an awareness, but I think as a man, as a husband or a boyfriend or, a father just in general, I think that education needs to stem around you guys, because it's really hard when you're in lack of sleep. You're trying to figure out how to feed a newborn, whether that's breastfeeding or bottle feeding. A lot of times you're like, am I feeding it enough? It still seems upset. And then you got gassy babies and colic and all kinds of like stuff that your baby can't tell you. So it's literally a guessing game. And I think it would have been better if Jonathan would have come in more prepared or like more educated on signs of postpartum depression and or just like baby blues in general, and knew how to kind of like help the situation, because there's so much that comes in at that point, right?
Yeah,
Because I know like you and Justine going through IVF, like you guys have gone through, it wasn't just like when you woke up one day and was like, oh, we should try it. Like you went through a process, right? And I think the biggest part of that is like you wanted this, and then I know that a lot of times it shows up in your life And there's like this conflicting part that happens because you're like mourning this old life and this freedom where you could just get up and leave your house, and now that's gone. And like your life just kind of becomes navigating a baby. So I honestly, I think that there needs to be more education geared towards men in general, because we don't know how at that point with hormones and sleep deprivation and all this other stuff that's going on, it's your responsibility as the spouse or husband or significant other or whatever to see those things, those warning signs, and be able to kind of like get ahead of the game. And I don't think that that is talked about enough.
Mm.
So I know that when you and I talked about like postpartum depression, for me, especially the first time with Madeline, I was like, oh, it's just baby blues. Like I'm not a big time crier, but I remember like reading um, a book to her in her room and just sobbing, just, and like with Emery, it was 10 times harder. And then with the twins, I mean, it was full fledged. Like I was like, I knew that I had to be in therapy ASAP after having them because I knew that it was coming by then.
Yeah.
But the first time around, I mean, yeah, I think that's a really thoughtful question and maybe something that you can try and take initiative on because it is blurred lines when you're in the thick of it to try and see your wife, to really see your wife when she isn't trying to navigate all of it. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah. I I don't know. It's weird just because like I see her as, the strongest woman I know, she honestly with her story, she could probably be on this podcast as a third emotional support person, So knowing like how strong she is and everything, and like even just to see her through this pregnancy, and like I remember like going through IVF and just like since I've known her, this is what she's wanted. She's wanted a baby. She's wanted to have children, and she is determined. She makes every appointment, and she's so about it and everything. So like, it's hard for me. I think it'll be hard for me to see that aspect after the baby comes. To where she's not Superwoman, which I still think she will be. But I just mean in the sense of like if she tells me, or if I can see like she's kind of like down or not feeling it one day, it's going to be hard for me to understand because I just haven't seen that.
Yeah, well, a lot of people try and push through it. I didn't necessarily think that anything was wrong for a long time. And then I had these moments of like tearfulness where I was just like, my life isn't what it used to be. And I mean, you guys are really lucky. I mean, how do you feel like I know since you live far away, like how do you feel about like your community support?
Excellent. I know that we have, if we ask, which it's hard for either Justine or I to ask, but if we ask, we have plenty of people that would help in one regard or another. We have the guy who married us actually, and his wife have time and time again made it clear like anything we need, they're retired. Like if we need somebody to help watch all those things, and we have such a good support family group or friend group, I should say, that I have a lot of friends that have done IVF that have given us a lot of direction along the way and support along the way. There's actually a good friend of mine, I think you met him at the baby shower, who also did IVF, and they're like 2-3 weeks behind us. So that was pretty cool. Like they saw the same doctor, everything. So that was cool to kind of like have that support for one another. But I would say, I mean, it is a little bit frightening in the sense of like when it comes time to go back to work, because you can count on people all you want, but nobody, wants. We're not trying to have somebody like raise our kid and then childcare and this and that. So that's a little bit fearful, but besides that, our community down here is solid. Of course, there's some, family and friends from Ohio. I wish we were closer like you, but overall, I'd say we have a pretty substantial amount of help and friends that would do anything for us.
What do you think that you would tell someone right now that's kind of lacking in that community support? Like that would be helpful to them.
Mm. Like as a somebody who is a new father, or just somebody just lacking in like having a community and a friend group in general.
Um, I guess sprinkle both in. Yeah, I mean, I think you and Justine moved to a new city where you guys didn't know anybody. It's not like you guys went down there and you had, extended family or friends. Like you just uprooted and left. Like think about, somebody that's afraid of doing that. Like what advice would you give them? Because you guys have really built a life. Like you really,
Yeah,
you know.
I will say that I think I kind of, this is gonna sound weird, but let me explain. But like I'm kind of lucky the fact that I'm an addict,
Mm,
because once you get into recovery, that's all it is. It's a community of like-minded people that are trying to do better. So I got very, very blessed in the sense that I needed help. I went to a place that provided that, and along the way, I made the best of friends. Um, but I isolated for a long time. But I think you can find that with anything. It doesn't mean you have to be in. I'm not saying go do drugs and and go get sober just to
let's
make
be
a
clear,
community. Yeah,
do not.
but I would say like find an interest or a hobby or something that you enjoy and find like-minded people. And mine's expanded tremendously. I mean, it started with recovery, and then somebody in recovery led me to Run Club. So I met a huge group of friends in running group, which led me to fitness. I started working at a gym, met another group of friends at the gym, and it's just, and now I'm in real estate. I'm on a team of 20 people on my real estate team, and like I feel like I have communities kind of all over the place. But it started by me getting myself right. So, and then to a father or upcoming father or whatever that lacks in that kind of area, I would say kind of the same thing. I think um, the internet can be a dangerous place, but it can also be a very helpful thing. And um, I could bet my bottom dollar on it that if you Googled like father support group or something along those lines, like you can find a group of guys that are like, dude, I'm fucking I'm struggling. What are you doing about this? And somebody out there
Yeah,
is bound to help you, you know?
I love that. I appreciate that insight too. Yeah, I mean, do you hear the kids? I told them I was coming in here to do the podcast, so just in case anybody, I'm sitting here just eating my dinner, my little bowl of chicken, and Lila and Nora just outside, just knocking on the door. I'm like, if anybody
Aww.
needs anything, go get Daddy. Nope. Yeah,
Oh.
you will never be, you will never be mom, not even for an hour. Sorry. Anyway, sidetrack. Yeah, pregnancy is wild. So going into parenthood, um, I wonder a little bit. Something that I think about pretty often is did anybody actually prepare me for parenthood that like
Mm.
had kids before me? Or was I just negligent? Like, did somebody try to explain it to me and they're like, hey, it's really hard out here? Or did anybody ever say that? Because now, before baby comes, I feel like it's on video. So this is me telling you it's really fucking hard. Um, so I just wonder, like, do you feel like you've been prepared going into this?
I mean, that's another good question. And again, I'm going to use my recovery as an advantage, because since then, since I've kind of gotten my shit together, anything that I've tried or put my mind to, I've been able to accomplish. I shouldn't even say me and Justine. anything that we've put our mind to, not only have we gotten to do it and get it done, we've been very successful at it. It wasn't like nothing up to this point since I've gotten my shit together. I would consider difficult in comparison to, the biggest hurdle that I had. And I'm sure that parenthood is going to maybe ask me in about a month that same question. I might be like, well, shit, dude, this is tough. But I love that my partner is a go-getter like me. And in knowing, like you said, we up and left Ohio. That was something scary for me. I've always wanted to do it, but it was scary, and I probably would have never been able to do it if it wasn't for my wife being on board. Buying a house. I've been homeless. You know what I mean? I never thought I would own a house, let alone 2 houses, and that wouldn't be the case if it wasn't for her. So knowing that she's like there and on my side with all these things, and like anything that we've really sat down and talked about and made a goal to do, we've done makes this feel a lot easier. I don't know if there's anybody can say anything that would necessarily prepare us for what parenthood is. I think I like to learn by watching, and I'm glad that I've had both good and bad examples, in my opinion, of parents. And I'm really glad that a couple of my closest friends that I met in recovery, they had their first child shortly before I met them, and I got to see them and the way that they parent, and it was brand new to me. I never saw it. If I had seen it, I never paid close enough attention, But they travel with their baby. They take them everywhere. They also don't live close to family. I remember the first time I went on a vacation with them up in the mountains, 6 months after we met them. And I watched the dad carry their less than a year old baby on his back up at 8 miles up a mountain. It's just like, that's so dope, And they were the best parents, dude. I'm so glad I got to witness that. And since, you and I have really gotten such a good relationship over the past couple of years, even though it's at a distance, I see the way you parent your kids. So, I don't know if there's anything that you could ever tell me or tell Justine that it would just be like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I'm good now. You know what I mean? I don't know if you feel the same. But I'm a learner by doer, not learner by, somebody could tell me the same shit 100 times, but I have to do it once or twice.
Well, I guess if you're gonna, thinking about your recovery and going into being a father for the first time, what part of your recovery feels the strongest right now? I'm bringing heavy hitters today.
I was gonna say, god damn. What part of my recovery feels the strongest? I would say gratitude. That's what I would say. This week especially, gratitude. I think that I was getting so wrapped up with trying to make sure that financially we were prepared to take some time off to, so I scheduled an abundance of work and grinded and hustled, and I didn't take any time to stay present, really. I just kept living in the future. I have to get these done in order to. And actually, since you and I talked, since you told me about slowing down, being present, meditating, taking some time away from our phones and electronics, and it was a very good reminder. And I've made a couple phone calls to family and friends, and even with Justine and the dogs at home, I can tell. I know that when I'm grateful for what I have, my relationship with my higher power, God, is so much better. My patience with my animals. We have 2 dogs and 3 cats. My patience is so much better. I'm not like sitting there watching the time all day at work saying I need to leave here, so on and so forth. So I would say gratitude right now, for sure, is something I've tried to be focusing on a lot more.
That's good. I think that it's a good way to kind of tie in something, you know, from your growth into like where you're heading, you know? I think that there's like a lot of pressure going into being a parent, and there's like this switch that flips when you have a baby about this pressure to be good enough, you know?
Mm.
And I think about that, um, and how hard it is to kind of meet these expectations because I feel like, especially with my first, going into it, it just felt like everything had to um, be aligned. And I don't know. I guess I want you to know that you don't have to, you know, or anybody listening, you don't have to heal everything from your past to be able to be a good enough parent because I feel like that holds a lot of people back too. Because when I started having the girls, I think I didn't realize how deep like a lot of like my trauma from like my past and like growing up was affecting who I was today. But nothing will lead you to those moments, those triggering times like your kids will. I've never in my life had anybody trigger me the way that my kids do. And all that younger inner child stuff comes bubbling in. And the stuff that we probably experienced as kids and we don't remember specific situations, but they come out, very specific ways. I know for me, um, that comes into basically my my reparenting of myself with my girls because like you said, I mean, you watch a lot of people become parents and there's things like I would never do that. And then you watch other people like, "Oh, that's a good idea." You know what I mean? Like you take these bits and pieces and then you also take these experiences that you had when you were younger and kind of implement it into who you are now. And with all of that, um, you know, like I said, I love my girls dearly. Uh, but I also know that last night we had a girls' night and I was sitting out back and I was telling the girls, one of my friends had asked, if you could wake up tomorrow and be the best at anything in the entire world, whatever it would be, we're kind of going around the circle. They're like, what do you think? I was like, I don't know. I can't think of anything. One of the girls was like, I would love to wake up and be excellent at the fiddle. And I was like, oh, that's fun. One of my friends was like, I want to be really good at electric guitar. One of them said, I'd really like to skateboard. I was like, these are all really good. And they were like, okay, it's your turn. I was like, honestly, I would want to wake up tomorrow and just be like this version of myself where I don't escalate and I'm just who my kids need me to be all the time. Like, I don't
Mm.
have to think about it. I don't have to work through all of these reparenting, these triggers, these moments, these hard times. Like, I just want to be so good at being their mom specifically for what they need that I don't have to work through all this stuff. And they were like, oh, I was like, I'm sorry. I'm away from this football player. They were like, yeah, that's a good one. I was like, I'm just, uh, yeah, it was just one of those things for me that I was like, I think that's what causes me to stay awake at night sometimes is like I lay there and I'm like I lashed out, I yelled too much, I was short, I wasn't present, I was on my phone, I walked away, I wasn't paying attention. I was like, we just knock ourselves constantly.
Yeah, I uh, I actually kind of have a good question relating to exactly what you're talking about. Like, is there when you're up at night, like, do you ever think about it in the sense of like, do you feel like thinking back at those times where you could have been better? Um, can you ever determine if it's like you reacted from a traumatic wound, I should
Mm.
say, that happened because of when we were children or teenage or whatever, or or like responding just because this is the adult version of you. Like, can you? Is there a way that you can deter? Do you ever even think about that? Like, can you determine like if it's because of the trauma or this, and like how do you go about trying to fix that in the future?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought. And I say that because a lot of times for me, if my reaction is pretty immediate and intense, and it's like a one-time go, I don't really think about it. But when it's a constant kind of cycle and doing something, what usually happens is like if I see something that's like kind of coming up or that's affecting me, I usually do bring it to therapy. And most recently I was in and I was like, I just feel like I do all the stuff that they tell you to do. Like I connect with my kid, I'm on eye level and I'm like, hey, we can't do this. And, put the boundary, maintain the boundary. Like I'm doing all of the things that I feel like the perfect parent checklist book comes for. And then I get to a point where I'm just like, just listen to me. And like, then they're like, oh shoot, like she's serious. Like we're really gonna listen now. And I'm like, why do I have to be that version of myself for my kids to pay attention? And like, we had a long conversation this past week about um, maintaining boundaries and like setting, the limit and standing by it and not like this big swing. I know that people encourage, gentle parenting and then there's people that are like anti-gentle parenting and then there's like this middle ground of like uh, you know, like the happy medium. Like you don't want to put a belt on your kid and then you also don't want to just be like, no, don't do that. And then they do it and you're like, oh, well, they're just learning. You know what I mean? So like where do you fall? It's so hard when you're in the middle of like those moments too. What I find for me is like that idea of like trauma, it's usually something that's like cyclical for me. And then I don't usually pull it out. I usually talk to somebody who knows what the hell they're talking about, and she'll be like, you think that's trauma? And I'll be like, whatever do you mean?
That's
And
fair.
then, we break it down. I wish that I was thoughtful enough to reflect on like, but I also know that when we talk about our childhood, I know that I have a lot of gaps in my memory. Um, there are times that I lay in bed at night and I just try and remember, like, I'll just be like, trying to, like, I see myself walking through our old house. I don't know if you ever do this or if I'm just like fucking weird, but like, I try to like remember the smell. Like our parents both smoked inside. Like I can remember the smell on our clothes of smelling like smoke, or like I try and like ignite something in my brain to like start to pull those memories forward. But a lot of times I just can't. Like they're literally not there, and it's so weird to me. That we lived there for 20 years and the memories are so sporadic.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think, and I could be dead wrong. I've never really thought about it, but I do believe that that's kind of a normal thing for any adult. That I don't know. My memory doesn't serve me well in that regard either. I mean, my memory doesn't serve me well. Period. But I I don't know. I never thought about like that. Like I remember enough about like childhood. Like I it's weird to say this, but I can't think of anything that I can't remember. I guess like I don't try to. Yeah, you are kind of fucking weird by trying to walk through the house in your head,
I
but
challenge you tonight when you're laying in bed before you go to sleep, just like see yourself opening our front door. And I would like tell myself actively, like where the laundry room was, where the office was, the basement, what the basement looked like, the musty smell, the smell of like dad's paint thinner,
yeah.
from working in the basement. Like I try, because they tell you a lot of times, like those will be the things that will bring it back. So I try
Hmm.
really hard to kind of like really engage all of my senses to see, what's there. I mean, so I do EMDR therapy currently. Um, And that brings a lot of awareness. And for me, it's been immensely helpful. It's been ridiculously helpful with my mast cell disorder. It's been immensely helpful with like the trauma and just like the kind of like working a highway through my brain to like my now developed prefrontal cortex, which did not exist when we were children. So like things would happen. And so like, obviously when we were kids, I didn't have a thinking brain. So being able to kind of navigate through that has been really good. I mean, anybody who's listening, if any of this resonates with you, 10 out of 10, find a practice practitioner that does that.
Practice.
Practitioner. Practice makes perfect. Perfect.
Practical. Particles. All right,
I
next.
almost said, okay.
You almost said what?
I don't know. I
Oh.
don't know.
Particle board.
Yeah, let's just do an hour of us just saying random things.
Dude.
That's literally what we're doing.
Yeah, that is a memory that I have actually with like
Particle board?
yeah, with particle board. No, with like I think mom and dad, we would just like say a random. I still do this. I do this with like my dogs all the time. I give them new names every single day. I'll just say a word, and then like I'll start rhyming with it, and then I'll start saying things that like pertain to some part of it or something. And Justine will look at me and like, what is fucking wrong with you? Like,
Do that too. And it's funny because Emery does it, and right before I came in here, I was singing way earlier about the old man is snoring because it's just absolutely storming in Ohio. And so she was singing to Nora. She was like, "It's raining, it's pouring. Lila snores like a man, and it's so annoying." And now
that's awesome. Yes, that is me every single day. Every single day. I was trying to what did I call up this morning? Oh, Beat Bop and Luna. I don't yeah. Chipper and Harper, not even close.
beep boop bop bop. My girls just act like robots. They'll just do random stuff like that.
Like yeah, I'll find a category too sometimes where like I'll be on like a week's tangent of like restaurants. Just be like, come on, Applebee's and Panda Express, like I'm serious. This is every single day. I don't know the last time I called them Chipper and Harper.
That's so funny. I was thinking about like random like things that our mom and dad would sing. And I won a contest on the radio once because it said something about like call in with like a memory about Christmas. And so I called in and I was like, when I was younger, for some reason, I just remember instead of singing Feliz Navidad, my dad would sing, The police stole my socks. And I don't know why, but that sticks in my brain. And I ended up winning like Country Fest tickets, which was awesome. But yeah,
Yeah, I remember that one
weird.
too. Yeah. So yeah, maybe. Well, yep. There's one more way they fucked us in the head.
Happy memories though.
Oh yeah. No, I wouldn't change it. But no, I don't. I never really tried to think of like walking through the house or smelling it or whatever. I have a pretty good memory of our house. Um, I don't know. Back
You
to
know why you probably can't remember anything is because that time we pushed you down the steps on that blow up chair and you
yeah,
fucking took out the bottom railings.
dude, I did a
Call our aunt.
full flip. That was
Again, if nobody's listened to past podcasts, Luke was a very emotional child and he was on the blow up chair at the top of the stairs, wouldn't go. So me and our older brother were just like, boom, down 15 stairs, took out the bottom railings. He swore up and down he had a concussion. We had to call an aunt. Nobody was home. Oh, it was a whole to do. And he was
listen.
fine, by the way.
Listen to what she said at the beginning. 15 stairs. The inflatable chair didn't go down one stair. They pushed the inflatable chair. It stayed. I didn't.
Launched.
Yeah. So entire flip. You go do a front flip down 15 stairs and tell me if
I
you're
could
not
have when I
scared
was
that you
8.
broke. Oh bullshit. Yeah, that was scary. I broke the railing too, and pictures at the bottom.
Yeah. Way to go.
But
Why couldn't you have controlled your space?
yeah, that was
Tuck and
traumatic.
roll, bro.
Tuck and roll. There was
Yeah,
no rolling.
it was
Tuck and
traumatic for
fly.
us because we got in trouble.
Good, you should have. That was shitty.
Sorry, you were gonna ask a question. Tangent.
Oh
Hello.
no, Oh no, I forget what I was gonna say. Um, kind of pertaining to what we're already kind of talking about. Like, I know that in my experience, um, I relate a lot of my stuff to, of course, recovery. I feel like I went from being a child to an addict to where I'm at now. Like that, I feel like my life has been in those like categories. I was child, and even into teenage years, I feel like I was like a late bloomer, and then I started getting into drugs and alcohol, and now we're here. So, with that being said, like I've never really given it any thought up until like speaking with you about like your experience with childhood and all these things, but I know that I resisted the idea that like childhood affects us as adults. Like I never really like I it was hard for me to like I'm going to say blame, but it's not that's not like the word I'm looking for. It was hard for me to like say I'm like this because of these things that happened as a child,
Associate
but
it.
yeah, exactly. Okay. Associate, that's the word I'm looking for. Particle word. Particle
Right.
board. Yeah. Sushi Hana.
Come on, sushi. Come on, Hana.
But anyway, my question is like did you ever resist the idea before like you got into like your mental health journey and all these things? Like did you ever resist that? Like did you ever think like there's no way that the way we were raised or that the way that you were raised like affects like how you will parent or how you will or how you are as an adult in general? Like did that ever come across your mind before you got into like therapy and your mental health journey?
It probably did, but I associated that with victim mentality.
Mm,
Whereas people would be like, I'm like this because my mom didn't love me. And I'd be like, okay, well, get the fuck over it and be a grown up, you know? Or people
right.
that would be like, I have a really hard time with that for sure. I think that we've talked about it a lot, especially, watching you and dad go through recovery for me was the first time that it opened up my eyes to realizing um, that that idea of like change of growth. So I don't know. I think I probably could have, but at the same time, I probably just would have looked at it and been like, "You're just looking for something to blame it on," you know. And I think that that's integrated in me somewhere too, uh, a little bit deeper. But I think now again with like the formation of an adult brain and knowing that the experiences when you're at such a vulnerable age that the people that you rely on to love you and that you're supposed to trust and that are supposed to get you through, these stages of your life. Yes, I can completely understand now how those formative younger years play such a massive role into who we are as adults, you know?
Sure. Yeah. No, I don't know. It was just one of those things cuz I mean that's something that I've learned because like everything that I've learned in like my recovery process is like the exactly what you just said. Like I can no longer hold on to the victim mentality because that's what I did was oh poor me, you know. Um, so when I learned that, it was hard for me to like understand and try to find like like you said earlier in relation to something else we were talking about, but a middle ground of like I'm not necessarily blaming my childhood or teenage years or this person or that person or whatever, but there's an understanding that kind of comes with it, like you just said, that like, yeah, absolutely, there's things that we went through that some people have or have not, and it's definitely formed who we are. But like in recovery, it teaches you, like, I can't blame you because I'm a fuck up. You know what I mean? Like that's all I ever did. I blamed Justine. I blamed the police. I blamed mom and dad. I blamed, so on, old friends, whatever. And like, ever since then, I've taken that so deep where it's like, now I can't blame anything else. So like, anytime I do fuck up or whatever, or anytime that like some old wound comes up, a reaction that comes up because of something I learned from the past, now that I'm like aware of it, I can't blame the past. I can't like be like, well, it's just the way I grew up. So I think the awareness that, like, after you have an awareness of like mental health and what you're supposed to do with therapy and recovery and all these things, like, I no longer have a valid excuse to do those things. Like, I either learn from it or I don't, and if I don't learn from it, then I'm an idiot at that point. So I think like the victim mentality that like you just kind of touched on, that we see other people have, I'm like, it's hard after you've grown a little bit to like feel for that. I don't feel for that. It drives me crazy. I don't know.
We were talking about this earlier this week, just about one of my biggest pet peeves is when somebody says they're going to do something and they don't do it. Because for like me, it just doesn't really make sense. And I know that's not fair. You know what I mean? It's not, one of the biggest things that I struggled with was everything in my life was very black and white for a long time. You either do or you do not. There is no try. It's either yes or it's no. You can't, but like life doesn't work like that. There's such a gray area in life, and I struggle with that a lot, you
Yeah.
know? And that you have to remember, like, just because somebody was like, "Oh, I think it'd be a good idea to plant a garden." I can't like look at them and be like, "Where's that garden you mentioned?" You know what I mean? That's not how it works all the time for people. But I think that I think that there is gray area in that you have to remember it's not necessary. It doesn't have to be victimhood. That there's room for both truths
Sure.
in that idea that things at a vulnerable age, the exposure that we saw growing up, the things that we experienced can affect us as adults, but we don't have to say all of that, is the reason that we are who we are. We still can make a conscious effort every day to change and to be better. And I think that that's essentially, again, with this podcast, bringing awareness, hoping to open people's eyes to that, self reflection, that awareness, getting better every day.
Yeah. Absolutely. I love it. I do. That's exactly what this is about. It's to show people that we were also lost, and we may not be all the way found, but we're fucking working on it, and we're aware of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, well, I think we hit it all, brother. I think we want everybody, log in next week, find us. We're going to be talking about marriage after chaos.
We might have to bring
Yikes.
Justine in for like 10 minutes.
That's
Actually, let's
it,
not
though.
do that. Yeah.
Look at that,
She gets 10 minutes.
Yeah, let's both just be really, really great spouses and then be like, hey, come in and talk for a few minutes. I bet you they just say how wonderful we are that week.
Oh, man. Not Justine.
Oh,
She,
stop
she
it.
got notebooks. She's like,
Which
as a
one?
matter
Yeah,
of
me
fact,
too.
I'm glad you asked.
Dude, I know. I got journals on journals. Oof. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Yeah, what are you, going into a new week, what are you going to work on this week? What are we going to, going into this week, knowing all the big changes, things that are coming up, um, what is it that Sarah is going to prioritize this week? What is one goal, I guess? Maybe not like an attainable goal in the sense of like measurable, but like what are you going to work on?
Um, yeah, I think my like focusing on some inner child stuff, you know. A lot of times when we kind of like hash a lot of these like thoughts and memories and stuff out, I think I just need to give myself some time to kind of process it. So like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast, I'm going to make sure to take those mindful moments, have my phone kind of put away and let my brain wander, you know. I've found that that's I would encourage anybody that's listening. Like, obviously, we want you to listen to the podcast. Like, come back, but also take those mindful moments, not to be on your phone, not listening to a podcast, not listening to music, not you know what I mean. Just like let your mind be for a minute. And it's challenging when we are in the hectic world, but like just you don't even have to focus the meditation on something specific. Just kind of let your mind look around on a walk instead of listening to Lizzo.
Anything but Lizzo, actually.
Stop it. Oh,
JK,
Lizzo.
LOL. Shout out Lizzo. Heck yeah,
Might be
I
our
love it.
first follower.
Yeah, that would be legit. I'm about to tag her after I clip this, and just the shout out Lizzo. That's it.
All right, mindful moment for you.
Um. Well, again, after our conversation the other day, it's gonna be tough just because I really do have a full packed schedule, but I'm really going to try something I really used to do when I first got into recovery was in the morning, first thing in the morning, before I have a chance to fuck up my day or fuck up my wife's day or fuck up my dog's day or the guy in traffic's day. Take 5 minutes before I even have my cup of coffee. That's my goal for this week. Is every morning before I even come out, is just take 5 minutes, wake up, and just pray and breathe. No phone, no coffee. Think about my day in a positive way, not in an overwhelming way, and yeah, I think that's what I'm gonna try and do.
I like it.
Heck yeah!
Well, yeah,
But
we want to tell everybody find us on the socials. Emotional Support
Instagram,
Siblings. We're on the IG. We're on the TT.
YouTube, TikTok, motherfuckers.
Spotify. We're on the things. We're
We
doing
are
stuff.
we are on things. Spotify, TikTok, YouTube, things. Instagram too, things. Particle
Yeah.
board.
Emotional Support Siblings. Also, give you the opportunity. Share with us something fun. Post in the comments. Write us on there. Write us on our Gmail. emotionalsportsibs@gmail.com. You have so
Yeah.
many options.
Yep. There's so many things, options.
Things and options. Particle board. All right. Well,
Yes.
have a
We'll
good
see you
night.
next
And don't
week.
for Marriage After Chaos.
Absolutely.
SJ Mowing out.
Yep. Shout out Lizzo
Shout out SB Mowing.
and SB Mowing and Lizzo. Lizzo, follow us. Ta ta.